thanks for joining us to our webinar, Less is More, Functional Flours for Tastier Snacks. My name is Élise Grolier, and I'm part of the marketing team of Limagrain Ingredients, and I'm in charge of the snacks and breakfast cereals markets. My co-host today is Anne-Sophie Godard. She's the R&D application manager at Limagrain Ingredients for snacks and breakfast cereals. So we are pleased to welcome you to this digital event. As the leader in functional flours in Europe, we are pioneers when it comes to clean label solutions for the food industry, and for more than 30 years now, we have been a real partner to industrial with our functional flours. So we made a first global webinar in September for functional flours for the food applications. And today we're going to focus on our solutions for the snacks, especially for direct extrusions and stackable chips. So first, let me just remind you some quick information about how it's going to happen for this webinar. All the attendees are on mute. If you have any question, you can ask it on the chat on your right, and we will answer to them at the end of the webinar. If we don't have time, we will come directly to you to answer to it. Something new we're trying today is a tasting session. You received a sample of snacks with your registration. So we are going to organize a small poll during the webinar to get your feedbacks on it. The poll will be on the right of your screen, and you can answer directly with the platform. And of course, we will send you the presentation after this webinar. So let me start a little bit with market insights. So I wanted to share some market information about the savory snack market. So the first slide allows us to put the European market for savory snacks into context. So Western Europe is one of the largest value generators within savory snacks, following category leader US and Asia Pacific. But despite already generating high value sales, Western Europe is still far behind North America and Australasia in terms of per capita spend, which see roughly double the amount spent per person for snacks. So UK is still the biggest consumer market when it comes to snacks in Europe, but according to Euromonitor analysis, the countries that are driving this category in Europe and leading the total absolute growth of savory snacks in Western Europe are Germany, France, and Spain, because we see lots of healthier and convenient snacks aligned with modern, healthier living trends in these countries. Also, Scandinavian countries, Austria and Spain, are expected to see rapid growth and a fast expansion in this market. So consumers are looking for healthier snacks with clear and easy-to-read labels, and companies are catering it to them. So clean label and healthy snacking is not just a trend in the snack world. We can all agree on that. So let's have a look at the global trends for savory snacks. First of all, it's pleasure first. When we eat snack, we want to enjoy ourselves. If we want the consumer to buy again the product, so if we want to retain them, the product has to be good, great taste, great texture. It's something that we cannot compromise on. But like I said before, healthier snacking is not just a small trend anymore for the snack industry. It's entering the mass market, and savory snacks are perceived as a healthier option in the whole snacking world, and they are particularly favored by consumers that are seeking for a sugarless snackification experience. So therefore, presence of healthier options and like rich in nutrients products with a clear shift towards higher in protein or higher in fiber content, for example, is expected to see further growth in this category. And last but not least, the convenience in compliance with the on-the-go lifestyles of the consumers. We are facing packaging challenges, so portability and packaging inventions are also playing a big role in the category growth. Just a quick overlook on what's next for the snacks. Unique tastes and adventurous flavors are helping to create a total eating experience. So we already noticed that on the shelves we see increasingly full. They are increasingly full of local and Mexican flavors, but also spicy or Asian influences. So it's expected to keep flourishing in the coming years, making snacks a great food experience. So this is really a key for this market. We also see that ethical concerns continue to shape the snack arena. There's a rise of the green shopper. So it starts with clean label, but ethical choices are expected to grow more and more for the whole food industry, not only for snacks, but it's something that we can expect. For example, more drastic requirements, plastic-free or religious labels that are being reinvented. Just a small thing about the clean label in snacks. It's a major factor that has been, we're talking about health and wellness related issues, such as we can see that directive to reduce sodium levels and consumers' desire for clean labeling. So the modern consumers are much more educated about what they eat, and they pay attention to the product labels. So almost, as you can see, 64% of global consumers try to have a positive impact on the environment through everyday actions, so including their food choices. So these educated consumers are seeking products and snacks with shorter ingredient lists and clean, simple packaging information with the reduction of e-labels, for example. So this was the quick market insights on my side. Before Anne-Sophie's presentation, I will quickly introduce Limegrain Ingredients for those who doesn't know us. So we have a 30 years experience in clean label and are the European leader in functional flours with 2 industrial sites, one in Arques in France and one in Weert in the Netherlands. So to support this leadership, we recently invested 9 million euro in a new industrial line in Arques, increasing our capacity up to more than 10,000 tons per year. With a state-of-the-art technology and process. So that's really a category of product that we believe in for the future. So Anne-Sophie will go more into details for snacks, but just to give you the big picture, we provide and we develop healthy and functional ingredients able to combine the technical, nutritional, and organoleptic quality of the snacks. And we ensure to provide premium quality products to meet all the requirements. So here we can talk about gluten-free, but it's always with a clean label on it. So Anne-Sophie, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Liz. So we will focus now on our functional ingredients for extrusion regarding process, texture, nutrition, and taste. So what is a functional flour? Quite quickly for the person who wasn't present to the first webinar on functional ingredients. So it is a specific ingredient from cereals or pulses. It can be different species, specific varieties, or even cereal blend. On this ingredient, we apply a thermical process. It can be hydrothermic treatment, heat treatment, or toasting treatment, always in a continuous and consistent process. These 2 items, the variety and the process, make a flexible combination and a range of functional ingredients with specific properties. So here we can see range we call the TM. So regarding process, we have this range that improve flowability through extrusion, the TM range. These flours are heat treated and granulated to make the particles with a round shape, low moisture, and a minimum of dust. Different particle size distribution are available from TM80 or 79, which is the finest ones, to the TM20, which are the coarsest one. On the pictures, you can see the native wheat flour, very fine, up to the TM20, who looks almost like a wheat semolina for couscous. These ingredients are added in your formulation to improve the flowability of your recipe from 5 to 15%, or as the base of your formulation from 20 to 50%. Cohesion index of these wheat flours have been tested on this graph thanks to a texturometer Taxt Plus. And as you can see, the flowability of a native flour is extremely cohesive compared to a flour with heat treated, such as wheat 100, which is easy flowing, and compared to the TM range, which are free flowing. So we can see the TM80, H1, and TM40 on the graph. Regarding process, sometimes you can have issue with controlling expansion for direct extrusion. The shape of your snack is not regular, there is a bubbly surface, and the expansion is not consistent during production. Adding fibers in your formulation at 2 to 5% can help in reducing these effects. Fibers play the role of nucleating agents in extrusion. Density and diameter decrease slightly to be controlled, length slightly increases. But fibers improve structure by developing fine and regular pores and reducing bubbling on surface. You can see on the pictures the nucleation size decreasing with the fiber percentage. Fibers improve also crunchiness at first bite without stickiness. Regarding nutrition, you also add fibers in your recipe, of course, as sofa bran maize, as an example, contains 75% of fibers, and sofa bran oat about 89% of fibers. So it's time of tasting session. Elise?
Yes, thank you, Anne-Sophie. Okay, most of you received small snack samples. We're going to ask 2 questions. This is the first one. You can answer to it on your right, and we will leave you a few minutes to answer it. So the first question about this direct extruded snacks that you received is, what's the most appealing to you about these snacks? Is it the texture, the taste, the protein content? Is it because it's made with pulses, so lentil flour? The last one is not applicable. If you didn't receive your sample yet, you cannot answer to this question, of course, but we will send it to you after. So we'll leave you 3 minutes, and Sophie will go through her presentation, but you still have time to answer to it.
So, few functional flour in our range can improve texture of your extruded snacks. It is the H1 and the 1000R range. With waste of wheat or maize or rice H1, you improve the processability of your formulation because of the good flowability of this flour compared to native flour and its specific hydration capability and viscosity development. It gives a regular nucleation that causes regular structure and a nice shape definition. It can also increase radial expansion and give crunchiness texture. West of wheat or rice 1000R are waxy varieties. It means they have a high amylopectin ratio in their starch and make them so specific. Heat treatment is similar to H1 treatment, but thanks to the intramolecular specification, they give finer cells and so a light texture with a quick bite. Thanks to their benefits, 1000R range is used to replace potato granules or flakes in snacks to keep light and crispy texture, but reducing acrylamide development because there is less reducing sugar. And cost, as potato can fluctuate also sometimes and becoming quite expensive with taxes. Look at the whole grain flours. Regarding nutrition, they are of interest, but can bring some issue during process or in terms of finished product. Of course, whole grain flours bring fibers, vitamins and minerals, fatty acids, nutrients good for our health, but you need functional whole grain flours to get the best product. Because our whole grain flours are heat treated, you will gain stability, homogeneity, and consistency from batch to batch on production line. Starch is pre-gelatinized, proteins are denaturated, and bran finely ground for better and homogeneous hydration and viscosity development during extrusion. The heat treatment improves also the flowability by optimization of particle size distribution. There are low-dose flour as less than 30% of particles are lower than 160 micrometers. We can see on the graph the flowability improvement of a native whole maize flour with the cohesive index nearby 45 and Western whole maize with the cohesive index of 17, so easy flowing. Functional Worgen flour improves sensory. Taste is improved with no bitterness, absence of acidity, and oxidation to enhance the cereal taste. Texture is improved with a nice crunchiness thanks to a better structure, more regular shape, and better expansion. In this range, we've got Western whole maize, Western whole wheat, Western whole barley, Western whole oat, and Western whole rye. You can add from 5 to 30%. So now we got the results.
Yes, actually, you will be able to see on your right. So it's quite a good balance. As we can see, the biggest one is the texture, which is quite normal, I guess, because of what Anne-Sophie just explained about the rest of the flour's effect on direct extruded products. We can ask the second question right now. So the second one, we are going to focus a little bit more on the taste and have your feedback on it. So this snack is made with Western yellow lentil flour, the TM40 version, so the granulated one. And we are asking if you taste the aftertaste of the pulse of the lentil in it or not. So this is a single question. You can say yes or no. We will go through the response in a few minutes.
So look at the pulse now. Pulses are of nutritional interest, but also to make a different snack. It is very trendy now to improve the bad snack feeling. We always heard snack is salty and fat is not good for your health. So adding protein is a way to improve the nutritional side of your snack. Pulses bring, of course, proteins, but also fibers with possible claims. First, a source of protein, if 12% of your calories are coming from the proteins. And second, is rich in protein, if 20% of your calories are coming from the proteins. Western faba bean, as an example, contain 29% of protein, but also 7.5% of fibers, and Western red bean contain 21.2% of proteins and 21.4% of fibers, so less proteins than faba bean, but more equilibrated regarding nutrition. As an example, you need to add 50% of faba bean in your recipe to make a source of protein snack if this one contains 10% of fat, and you need to add 90% of faba bean to get a rich in protein snack containing 20% of fat. These pulses can be used in a gluten-free and vegan snacks. Because they are pre-cooked, their behavior is easier to handle during process. Protein limit expansion in direct extrusion, but using functional pulses flours like the TM40 range improve the flowability and expansion compared to native pulse flours. All pulses have a different behavior regarding pulses. What we've tested shows that faba bean is the easiest to expand. The expansion can even be bigger than maize control, as you can have a look at the pictures. So the red bean has a good expansion, also quite like the maize control. You can use these two references at 90 to 100% of your recipe if you like. Yellow lentil has less expansion, so it gives good results, around 30 to 50% in the recipe. We recommend to use the other references from 5 to 30% as they give less expansion. Texture is generally crunchy for all references and crispy and light for faba bean and chickpea. Functional pulses flour decrease the hardness and improve crispiness compared to native pulse flours. Heat treatment also allows to reduce the bitterness and crude taste of pulses, so you keep only the cooked pulse taste, which suits better for an ethnic concept, for example. Color will be from cream to pink, depending the pulse you want to use. snacks are mainly potato-based or maize-based. Sometimes customers would like to enhance the corn taste. This is possible to find different corn tastes using our corn range and in a gluten-free manner if you wish. All these pre-cooked ingredients improve their processability and flowability compared to native maize flour. First, we can suggest the waste of whole maize, a full-grain flour stabilized to keep the nice taste and color of the maize with all its nutritional benefits. Dosage is as you wish, depending your corn flavor intensity choice. To make a more ethnic snack, you can use Masarina. As a masa producer, Limagrain can suggest a full range of masa in terms of particle size distribution and less or more intense Tex-Mex flavor. Masa is a full corn flour cooked with lime to give this typical Tex-Mex taste. Its declaration is maize flour and traces of lime. Finally, you can enhance your maize snack using the toasted maize flour to give a toasted flavor and a nutty note. The toasting process allows us to adapt the taste and the color of the flour, as you can see on this picture.
So the results also it's going to appear on your screen on the right about the aftertaste. So for that, it's a majority of no. So that's what you were explaining, Anne-Sophie, about our heat treatments on the pulses flours that help to reduce this bitterness of the pulse. So of course we are still tasting the lentil, but with no bitterness, and also the flavoring is helping a lot for this typical sample. So thanks to all of you for those who responded to this quick poll.
So we'll now have a look at few examples in stackable chips. Here you have a simple and general process, which is represented on your left. We are mixing first ingredients and solvents with a low shear force to make a crumble. This crumble goes through two heated rollers with a high shear stress to obtain a continuous and very fine dough sheet, cohesive and slightly elastic. Elliptical shapes are cut in a rotative cutter. These shapes are then cooked mainly by frying, but sometimes by baking and frying. In both cases, the chips are contained in a specific curved mold with holes. Main ingredients used in stacks are starches with potato flakes and starches, rice starch or flour, wheat starch, modified ingredients such as glucose syrup, maltodextrin, or modified rice starch, and some emulsifier like the E471, salt, and sometimes monosodium glutamate. The critical point to control are the starch content, with amylose content improving cohesiveness of the dough, and amylopectin, which will be quite bad parameter as it makes the dough quite hard. The dough viscoelasticity to allow proper sheeting through the roller, the water absorption index linked to fat absorption and expansion to get the right moisture and lipid content at the end of the process, and the right texture. What we are looking for in classic stackable chips is crispiness, crunchiness, melting mouth with the potato taste. Limagrain ingredients suggest several functional flour in order to improve texture by giving light and crisp chips with crunchiness, create new natural taste within the stacks formulation, so not only potato-based stacks, improve processability to help in dough cohesiveness, improve the nutritional aspect for better and healthy snack, and suggest clean label and gluten-free solution. So this slide is an example of stacks formulation where we replace pre-gelatinized potato starch with starch, maltodextrin, and emulsifier by two functional rice flours, rice H1 and rice 1000R. These two flours have been selected because they are gluten-free, but also white-colored with neutral taste. At this percentage, the rice flours give an equilibrated texture. Rice H1 for crunchiness and rice 1000R for light and crispy texture. On sensory evaluation with the trained panel, we obtain a crunchier and crispier chips with less melt in mouth than control. So interest are white color and light texture, dough with a good processability, a crunchy and crispy texture without increasing your cost recipe. Depending your ingredient cost, you could even get a cost reduction. two other recipes here to show you we can develop stacks with very different taste. First one is a pulse stacks, in this case a red bean stacks. The color is different, warmer. You get a nice pulse taste without bitterness or green taste, and a good processability thanks to our thermical process. A light texture compared to native pulse flour. And regarding nutritional aspect, you are in the trend by adding first pulses, who are very trendy at the moment, proteins and fibers. In this recipe, we add 20% of Wesso red bean and 9% of rice 1000R to keep crispiness of a standard stacks. Second example is a multigrain stacks, adding cereals and fibers, keeping a light, crunchy and crispy texture, and a good processability thanks to rice 1000R. In this recipe, we add 5.4% of Wesso wheat bran fine and 8.6% of Sofa bran maize to reach the claim rich in fibers. It means 6% of fibers in the product. So we have now finished the session, and I'll let Elise to conclude.
Thanks a lot, Anne-Sophie. It was a very interesting presentation. So thanks to everyone for participating to this webinar. If you have any question, please ask it on the Q&A or on the chat on your right. We have a first question about organic pulses. Do you have organic pulses flours, and is it applicable for extrusion and stackable chips? And Sophie, up to you.
We have some organic pulses flour. We've got the green pea, red lentil, chickpea, and yellow lentils. But these four flours, we've got them only in standard flour. That means we don't have the TM range on these ones, except for the yellow lentils. So it means you can extrude them if you use them at low percentage. If you need to extrude at high percentage, like 30%, 40%, 50%, I don't know, you will need a TM version.
So we have a second question for you, Anne-Sophie. What percentage mix would you recommend for wheat extruded cereals in regards to heat treated and non-heat treated?
Okay. So generally, because of functional flour are, of course, more expensive than native wheat flour, we add them at quite a low percentage. So it's used more like an improver. So you can add from 5% up to 15-20%, depending the improvement you want as a texture or maybe flowability. It really depends on the issue you can have during extrusion. If it's for the final texture, for example, sometimes you just need 10% in the recipe. So if you need this kind of information, you can ask to your commercial, and I will answer specifically on your recipe and your process.
Thanks a lot, Anne-Sophie. So since we passed the half an hour time for this webinar, I suggest that we close it. If you have any more questions, please ask us directly. You can send an email to your sales representative as well if you need anything, samples, or if you have R&D questions. We'll be happy to help you with that. Thanks a lot, and see you on our next webinar. Have a great day.
Thank you. Have a great day.